I'm Sharmila. I'm going to be conducting this session. So before I start, I'll just say a few words about my panelists. I'll start with Dr. Helen. We found out that we have a common connection. We both have a connection to Ateneo, where she has audited a few classes and I have done a few sessions. And for Dr. Arasendran, what do I say? This project that we are going to work on has been a labor of love for 30 years. And I have met a few of your editors who are working on the project, sir. And some of them, I suspect, weren't even born when you started this project. So they are so young. So it's been a long time that this project has been in the works, and I'm very proud and honored that this week, finally, we've managed to sign a contract to work on a 12-volume comparative etymological dictionary of Tamil and Indo-European languages with the TNTB, Government of Tamil Nadu, as well as Oxford University Press. It's a matter of pride for us, and like the last panel, the panelists were saying, you cannot look at India and our linguistic history if you do not look at the two most ancient languages that we have, Sanskrit and Tamil. The problem is that in some cases, history has been kinder to Sanskrit than it has been to Tamil, and fortunately for me, I work for an organization where we do not believe in linguistic hegemony. So we give equal importance and love to all the languages, and we believe in access and representation for all language groups. With that in mind, we had a look at the proposal and the overview that the team had sent us. And I'll start with a small anecdote before I hand over to my panelists for a larger discussion. What interested me when I looked at the overview of the project was something that caught my eye was a description of a root word, karma, and which had an example of Chittagong, where my family hails from, and it described how the word has roots in Tamil. Along with that, also the fact that Bengal is also called Bongo in Bangla, and which is my mother tongue, and also the fact that they've connected it to Wanku, I think, which is curved, and in Bangla, the most celebrated linguist that we have, Shruniti Kumar Chatterjee, also speaks about Baka, which is curved in Bangla. So that is a much later language, and the fact that it could be connected to Tamil was a revelation to us. I will now hand over to my panelists to talk about how this project came about. And I know that, sir, you've worked on this for 30 years, and you've also worked on magnum opus on the root word Kal, and we will talk about that as well. But first, let me come to Dr. Helen. How did you like editing the English part of this?
To tell you the truth, I had just retired and wanted to just potter around the house, which is a myth. For a grandmother, there's no pottering. And so I just casually went there to meet Dr. Arasendran because editing is something that comes an English teacher's way pretty easily, with a lot of difficulty, I shouldn't say pretty easily. And for the next 1.5 hours with Dr. Arasendran, I was mesmerized. There was no other word. Because even now with this audience, when you say an encyclopedia and a comparative etymological dictionary, sorry, not encyclopedia, dictionary, how many of you were excited by that? Because a dictionary is something, thank you, but one in a crowd. And it's something that you put in a shelf and only a research scholar goes and, or maybe somebody who doesn't know the meaning approaches it. But to me, it was fascinating to listen to Dr. Arasendran, because he was unfolding this beautiful narrative, a totally new narrative of the history of the world itself, of the history of language. And even when the earlier speaker was speaking, about culture, language is so important. And I think I should leave it to Dr. Arasendran to actually talk about how language has evolved. Anyway, I was so fascinated and caught up with it that I just plunged into it. But I have just touched the surface through editing the translation. But as Sharmila said, it's been a passion for Dr. Arsendran for about 52 years, Tamil itself, and 30 years with this project. So that's my take on this at this point.
Thank you, ma'am. So, sir, two questions for you. The first question is that I know that you've looked at many approaches when you were looking at this project, and your research has many different approaches that you're looking at. My first question is that, and this is something that we've discussed in the past, but for the larger audience, when you look at phonetic similarities and etymological similarities, how do you differentiate between the two when you're looking at roots in Tamil?
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். The phonetical and semantical connections are help to trace out the root words. According to Cibf Etymological Dictionary, Cibf listed only 461 basic roots or the whole Indo-European roots. 461 roots. List of Aryan roots. Cibf mentioned the final part of the monumental English Etymological Dictionary. Cibf mentioned list of Aryan roots, 461 roots. I am basically a Tamil student and a Tamil lecturer. நான் என்னுடைய பிஏ வகுப்பில் கால்டுவெல்லில் படிச்சிருக்கிறேன். கால்டுவெல் 17 வயசில் படிச்சிருக்கிறேன். அப்போ எனக்கு அவ்வளோவா ஒரு டீப் நாலேஜ் கிடையாது. பட் அதே 17 years, in my 17 years old, I entered Devanayan's work, Pavaner's work. Devanaya Pavaner is a disciple of Caldwell. Caldwell works a comparative Dravidian language. 1856 published the first book. The last part of that book, Glossary Affinities, Caldwell, a very big area there. Tamil, Sanskritam, Tamil, West Indo-European. He mentioned more than 200 words. Caldwell, you don't know merge. Everybody knows merge. What is merge? This merge came from one of the Tamil word. Caldwell explained this glossary affinities. மூழ்குதல் means depth. ஒரு தண்ணியில் மூழ்கி போச்சு. மூழ்குதல் is the real word. That Morgu is a Tamil word, translated in the merge. Caldwell explanation this. This Ragaram will change into Ra is a common one. Caldwell explains. The word Cholamandalam is translated in the English Coromandal. Here change the Ra sound. ரகரம் ரகரமாக மாறுகிறது. சோழமண்டல் சோரமண்டல். Even in Dravidian languages, கோழி கோரி in Telugu. கோழி கோரி. மூழ்கு merge. The word பொழுது also in our Tamil, பொழுது. Nobody knows the origin of the word பொழுது. But Caldwell explained what is பொழுது. It is always changing, always moving. Time is always moving. Nobody will control the time. Poldal means pilattal. Poldal in our ancient Tamil, Poldal means pilattal. Vaal poldu adakudal is a Sangam text. The poldu word, porthu, in West Indo-European. That porth is in the form of English bear. From September to December, bear is the word that originates from the Tamil poldu. These are all causal explanation. So finally, Pavanar says, apart from his guru, Tamil is the mother of all Indo-European, including Sanskrit. This is the Devanayan findings. According to the 461, I trace out 300 of roots, the Aryan roots, are related to Tamil. Give the list, Thambi. First word, first ak. The first word ak. What is the root meaning of the word ak? Be sharp. Ak is the first word of 461. It means sharp. Akku man, acupuncture, acacia. These are all the words from the root ak. But according to the other English etymology dictionary, the ak is only a hypothetical root. Nobody knows where the word ak came from, which word. Nobody knows. But this ak came from one of the Tamil word, al. Al means closeness. It's a nerukkam. Al என்பது nerukkam, closeness, aggregation. Al andu, closeness. Al anmai, closeness. These anmai, andu are all came from the root word al. This root word al only gives the word ak. Algu ak. Pol means hollow in our Tamil. Pol, pottal, pottal. Everybody knows. Pollar kudam, pol pottal, in our colloquial, pottu pochu, pottu pochu. This pol word transferred in the one of the ku word formation element takes polgu pokku, pokkai pal. Pokkam pottu poittudu. Eli pokka pottu poittudu. Av pokkavai, Gandhi pokkavai. Pokkai means hollowness. The word pol, give the word polgu pokku, pokkai. The same rules adopt here. Al is closeness. That al change into algu akku. It means sharp. Akkumani, it means, what is akkumani? Rudraksha. Akku transferred in Sanskrit aksha. It's a sharp edges, akku. In another word, akkumani is kandi. Kandi means the same Rudraksha. Kaluthil kandi udayir is a Tevaram. The word kandu also sharp in the root meaning. Kandangathiri, you know. Kandal is thazhai. These are all sharp-edged plants. These plants called in West Indo-European acacia. That is sharp-edged plant, acacia. That the acacia word also came from the same root ak. Akkuman. Ak gives the one of the English word ak, edge. Edge also came from the same root ak. This is edge. And also this is sharp one. That edge also came from the same ak. In another word, this edge also called another English word corner. Everybody knows corner. But nobody knows where the word originated from The cur is one of the root in skeet mention root. Cur, K-R, cur is a hypothetical root. But in our Tamil, kadu means sharp in our Tamil. Kadu nunai pagadi, sharp-edged arrow is called kadu nunai pagadi. That kadu means sharp in our Tamil. That kadu word change into tara transformation. Vanduvidu is in our Tamil, called in spoken Tamil vanduru. Koduthudu, koduthuru, poidu, poiru, konnuduven, konnuruven, tinnudu, tinnuru. Oru tada, one time, that is changed into oru tara. Even in ancient days, the word padagu in our Tamil changed into Hebrew barku, B-A-R-Q-U, barku. Our kudagu changed into gurk, tara change happens. Oru tada, adupang kadai, the place as a cooking place. Adupankadai is changed into Adupankara. Pattadai, Pattarai. The Tara change is very normal one. That rules adopts here. Kadu, Kar is one of the PA root. That Kar gives the word corner. Corner and edge. Everybody knows. That is sharp point. But this corner and edge came from two Tamil words. Akku, egg, edge. You can go through this Skeet dictionary or online etymology. Come to the word corner, please. One minute. Corner. The square is the only hypothetical root. But nobody knows where the word care came from. According to our findings, kadu, that kadu changed into kar. That kar is spelled like kar. A change is common one. Dandabani, Dandabani. Rangan, Rengan. Katti, that is Ketti. Kattikaran, formed person. That is Kettikaran. Pariyadu is big one. That Pariyadu change is Periyadu. Parumai is in our Tamil, big one. That Parumai is changed into Perumai. So that the same Aya change, Kar is the Tamil, but the mentioned persons only Kar. Kar is the root. This Kar give the word corner. Horn also the same one, sharp-edged horn. That corn, kadu, sharp, karas, rhino, karas is the Latin word. Horse, nose, horse in animal. Rhino, karas. Rhinos means nose, karas means horn. Rhino, karas, Latin word. Then Greek, rhinoceros. These are all originated from the root word kar. Karas, hern, horn in English.
Thank you, sir. My second question to this is that I know that you've taken a lot of different approaches, and in your introduction you also talk about the ascent theory and the descent theory. What was your methodology when you scanned through the classical literature, as well as I know that Tamil has an unbroken change of linguistic heritage for over 2 millennia. When you were scanning the classical literature and contemporary literature and contemporary usage, what was the methodology that you looked at when you were doing your research?
Sangha Ilakyangal is a classical Tamil only helped to trace out the word history. So I am always take the note from the ancient Tolkappiyam, Sangha Ilakyam, Thirukural, and even in Bharati poem, up to Bharati poem. So only spoken Tamil will not help to trace out the real root meaning of the word. Valluvar also used the common words, spoken Tamil. You know one of the famous Thirukural, மோப்ப குழையும் அனிச்சம், முகம் விரிந்து நோக்க குழையும் விருந்து. That real classical word means முகப்ப, முகர்தல். முகர்ந்து பார்த்தல் is the real word. That one is the செந்தமிழ். முகர்ந்து பார்த்தல், முகர்த்தல், முகர்த்தல், மோர்த்தல், மோத்தல், மோப்ப, மோந்து பார்த்தல், மோந்து பார், முகர்ந்து பார். That is the real word. That முகர்ந்து பார், முகர்ந்து பார், மோர்ந்து பார், மோந்து பார். முகம், முகர்த்தல், முகப்ப, மோப்ப. But Valluvar used only the common usage, மோப்ப குழையும் அடிச்சம். Sometimes it is happen normally. But most of the classical Tamil words only help to trace out the real word of the etymology.
Ma'am, now my question is to you, because you taught English for a very long time, and when we do language and literature in English, we also learn about the evolution of the language and the growth of the language and influences. So does it surprise you that we haven't read much about, I mean, we've read about the Scandinavian influence and the German influence and other influences on the English language and the growth of the English language, but does it surprise you that there hasn't been much after Burrow and Emino on Dravidian etymology and English language?
Well, I haven't been a great fan of linguists, and all that I had to study in my linguistic paper. However, it was interesting at that point to read about, the history of English itself. But basically, Tamil is your mother tongue, and, your heart is there. So you don't really get fascinated too much by English, though you love the literature. I love the literature. And so when I was reading this particular work, and it was really captivating to find that, if I can just elaborate on what he said, because you were talking about the methodology. ஒரு பக்கம் வந்து அந்த வரலாறு கொடுக்குறாரு. இப்போ வந்து எல்லாமே வந்து தமிழ்லேருந்து ரூட் வேர்ட்ஸ்லேருந்து தான் மற்ற மொழிகளெல்லாம் வந்தது. அதாவது the West Indo-European, English, German, Italian, etc. and East Indo-European languages like Sanskrit, Sinhalese, Bengali, etc. எல்லாமே வந்து ரூட் வேர்ட்ஸ் வந்து தமிழ்லேருந்து வருதுன்னு சொல்கிறாரு. இதை வந்து ஆர்கியூ பண்ணுறதுக்கு நிறைய சொல்லலாம். அதனால் ஒரு பக்கம் வந்து he is taking the phonetic path, the linguistic path. இந்த டிக்ஷனரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வந்து அந்த இத்தனை வேர்ட்ஸை வந்து லிஸ்ட் பண்ணிவிட்டு அது வந்து எப்படி வந்து அந்த ஒரு சவுண்ட் சேஞ்ச்னால் வந்து மாறி 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 பல வகை வேர்ட்ஸாக மாறிச்சு அப்படின்னு எழுதுகிறாங்க. ஸோ ஹவு த வேர்ட்ஸ் இவால்வ்ட் into so many different languages. Like he says, one seed gives, brings forth so many trees, so many further seeds, etc. Like that language grows. So that is one part of it. Now he has done a lot of research of not just classical Tamil to find the roots, but also so many other pieces of literature and so many dictionaries. There's a wide variety, a spectrum of work that he has gone into. So one thing that was fascinating is, how did this happen? We have learned a certain history about English itself and concentrated on that. It has been paramount in our studies. But how did this happen? So one thing that was fascinating, the Nostratic scholars and some other people, I think Levitt in the USA was talking about how the language of the aborigines of the Australian has got a lot of similarities with the language of Tamil. அது வந்து 40,000 years old. So then, you get suddenly startled. So Tamil was there 40,000 years back. And then you have historians, I think you got Dikshitar. He's talking about how, let's forget about 15,000 years back and all, but so the people, the Dravidian society was indigenous. There's no question of them having come from somewhere, bringing a language. So very briefly to talk about this, Tamil and the Dravidian culture was there as part of India. In fact, 15,000 years ago, a group moved out across into Asia and Europe. And there they fragmented and so many different languages were born. Tamil இங்கிருந்து கொண்டு போயிட்டு அங்கே வந்து வேற மொழியாக மாறுது. ஏஷியாலேயும் யூரோப்லேயும். தட்ஸ் வை இண்டோ-யூரோப்பியன். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு 4,000 இயர்ஸ் முன்னாடி வந்து அவங்க மறுபடியும் அந்த கைபர் பாஸ் வழியாக திருப்பியும் இந்தியாவுக்கு வர்றாங்க. அப்போ தான் வந்து ஒரு சான்ஸ்கிரிட் அப்படின்னு ஒரு மொழி, கொக்கிஸ்தான் சொல்கிறீங்க, அந்த மொழியை வந்து கொண்டு வர்றாங்க. So actually, when you're looking at, I mean, it's a matter of pride also, but it's not a matter of political contestation. You know, it's just a matter of history. அதாவது உண்மை, truth. What is the truth? You know, research scholars want knowledge and the truth. So they bring it back 4,000 years back, but Sanskrit, the people just scatter across India. பெங்கால் போகிறாங்க, இங்கே போகிறாங்க, அங்கே போகிறாங்க. அப்போ அந்த மொழியோட சேர்ந்து அது வந்து மாறுது, வேறு வேறு மொழியாக மாறுது. So actually, we see the journey of Tamil having gone from here, formed different languages, coming back as Kokistan, Sanskrit, spreading across the country of India. So இது ஒரு history, you know, and so he's researched that part of it. And then to give evidence for all this, how Tamil was already there across India, and for example, the place names. Okay, when you trace, say, Himalaya, அந்த ஹிமாலயான்ற வேர்ட் வந்து எங்கே தமிழ் ரூட் எங்கே இருக்குது. அப்புறம் வந்து கிளாசிக்கல் லிட்ரேச்சர் வந்து நிறைய எவிடன்ஸ் இருக்குது, இங்கெல்லாம் வந்து தே லிவ்ட் ஹியர், தே ரூல்ட் ஹியர் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறதுக்காக. ஸோ ஐ மீன் பீப்புள் டேக் லிட்ரேச்சர் இட் செல்ஃப், யூனோ, you have to take it with some salt perhaps, and they say it's fantasy or it's fiction, but we have history also. So that is the history that is giving linguistic history. ஸோ இப்போ சண்டிகர்ன்னு சொன்னால் அந்த கோட்டை, there are so many, you know, கோட்டை, how it changed to கர். ஸோ கண்டி கோட்டை வந்து சண்டிகராக மாறுது. அதே மாதிரி பெங்கால், you already mentioned பெங்கால். ஸோ அண்ட் த ரிவர் நேம்ஸ், கங்கை, கங்கு சார், அந்த கங்குன்ற வந்து இட் மீன்ஸ் டார்க் வாட்டர். அது வந்து அடாப்ட் பண்ணும்போது கங்கையாக மாறுது. யமுனா வந்து கிருஷ்ணா, அப்படியே வந்து அந்த ரூட். ஸோ இந்த டிக்ஷனரி வந்து நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு நாலேஜாக படிக்கும்போது, ஒரு வெறும் ரிசர்ச்காக பார்க்காம ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்காக படித்தாலே வந்து யூ கெட் ஃபேசினேட்டட். இவ்வளவு வந்து ஸ்ப்ரெட் ஆகிருக்கு எப்படியெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு. அண்ட் if I can just add one thing more, it is not just about the language, it's about how we all come from the same group. Okay, in an increasingly fragmented world, I think it's very important that, you know, we are all basically people who spoke one language and we had one culture, but by the force of nature and history, by spreading across the world, we have developed different characteristics, but it's really important to reiterate this message today.
How are we doing for time? Because then I'll ask another question. Okay. So, sir, ma'am mentioned the Australian Aborigines, and I know that you've worked on the root Kaal and you've connected it to the Australian Aborigines. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that migration happened? You can take it.
Sorry. The Italian scholar Trumpati is a founder of monogenes theory. Trumpati, Italian scholar, is monogenes theory founder. He traced many Australian Aborigines words and Dravidian words. These are this list, this article published in Mother Tongue Journal. He made more than 135 cognates connected with Australian languages and Tamil. You know, Kalan mushroom also in Mutti means joint. It is Tumbu means water track. Tumbu, Australian Aborigines words. Pirai means in Australian Aborigines moon. Pirai, moon. Kurudi means blood in our Tamil. That Kurudi also in Australian Aborigines. So Australian Aborigines are 40,000 years back then. So Tamil, before 40,000 years back, the southern part is covered full of Tamil. According to monogenes theoretician, trumpety is datas, so many datas.
So my other question would be that how do you account for, for every language there are loan words from other languages which helps the language grow. How do you account for loan words in Tamil? What languages do you think influence Tamil? I know that it has an unbroken linguistic heritage for many millennia, but is there not loan words from other languages and cognates from other languages?
It is common one. First influenced other language is Sanskrit in Tamil.
Okay.
Even in our Tolgapiyam and Tirukural and Sangam literature also has many Sanskrit words. But in the nostatic level, that Sanskrit word also came from one of the Tamil root.
Okay.
For example, Nathambol Kedum Uladagum Sakadum Vittagar Kallal Aridu is a Tirukural couplet. Vittagar means learned people. Vittagar. But everybody knows that Vittagar is a pure Sanskrit word. Vittai, Vidya, Vittuvan. These are all Sanskrit words. Valluvar also used this word Vittagar. That Vittai changed into our spoken Tamil, Vichai. Kola Vichai Kallamal Pagambadum. But Pavanar, how the word Vittai, Sanskrit, originated from one Tamil word. But Vidi means I in our Tamil, Vidital. So Vidi means I. That Vidi changed into West Indo-European, Vidi, video. Even in our Tamil, Pudal means hollow. That Pudal changed into Pudal. Pudalanga is a hollowed. Pudal, that Kudal. That rata change is happened in the Vidi. That Vidi is the video. Then video change into tasa change. Odindadu, osindadu. Vidi, visible. Wisdom. That equal East Indo-European with. You see the word with is the hypothetical one. To see is the meaning of the root word. That Vidi with Vidya. Knowledge only came from our five senses and in our mind. So six kind of knowledge we gathered. So Vidi is the I. That Vidi, Caldwell mentioned, Kan is one of our Tamil root. Kan means I. That Kan changed into West Indo-European, knowledge.
No,
that Jno, Jnanam. That Jnanam also came from the Kan in our Tamil. Caldwell give the data. The same another word, Kan is one of the Tamil word, and also Vidi also the same part. That Vidi changed into Vidi, with witness, wisdom. That Vidi give the with, Vidya, Vittai, Vedam. All words are came from the Vidi, with. So we can use the Sanskrit word Vittai, Vitta, Vidya, but the with, Vittai, Vichai, that word also came from the nostatic level, that Vidi Tamil.
Thank you, sir. And I know that of the 12 volumes that we are going to publish, the last 2 volumes you are dedicating to Sanskrit and the influence and how it's coming back. So thank you very much, Dr. Helen and Dr. Sentharan, for the session. And I'll open it out for questions if anybody has any questions. Yeah, one question. She has warned me that we have time for only one question. So anyone has a question? You were the most excited for the session. So do you have a question? Yes.
So I have 2 questions. One is the ak. So ak, you told in your lecture, ak becomes ach. So aksha, ksha in Sanskrit. So we usually use the ksha. In Tamil, it's icha, aksharam, aksharam. So, but you are saying it in the reverse way. So I want some explanation for that. The second one is mondu and mopam. I think mopam itself is a classical word. Mondu is a spoken form. This is I need some clarification. That's why I'm asking this question. Mopakulayam, mopam. So there is no colloquial form for that one, mopam. Whereas muhardal, there is a colloquial form, mondu. So if you are arguing this mopam as a colloquial form, then what is the classical form for mopam?
One muhardal is the first form. That first form, muhardal, that muhardal is closely related to muk. We can smell only with the help of nose. Muharta, muku, muhar. That muhar changed, muhardal, muharnd. That another form, muhar, morpa, mopa. Muharnd vartal, mond vartal, muharpa, mopa. Both are came from one origin, muharda. That muhardal is the origin form. So next, takku means thalvu, downing in our Tamil. Takkile paadugindran is a usage one. That takku is changed into daksha, dakshana. So these same rules, the pakku, vekku is a pure Tamil word, you know, vekku. That vekku changed into vapa change, pakku. Vekku, bekku, back, bakery. That bakku in Sanskrit, bakku, bakshana, bhakshanam. Both are same, back, bak, bhakshana. Like these rules, akku is aksha, uruttara aksha, rudraksha. So takku, daksha. Dakshana means a downing side. Compare with uttara, this is a downing side. Takku is a Tamil word, that takku changed into daksha. You know, please.
Thank you so much.